All right, part two, why some of us don't like playing in Vegas during the WSOP. Rich is gonna say most of the things in this video, but I'll lead him in. The first thing is that in every tournament, more rake is paid than prize money goes to second place.
Yeah, that's it right there. And so I ran some numbers. They don't have shuffle machines on their tournament tables. They expect their dealers to come in and shuffle for basically 12 hours without a shuffle machine, which I think that's cruel. And then also they take second place money out of that tournament. Every single tournament takes better than second place money. I ran the numbers. It would take them about $7 million to get the whole like 700 tables that they need if they cost $10,000 a table. They don't cost $10,000 a table. They probably cost closer to $5,000, so it'll be like $3.5 million. If you look at all the tournaments they took $3.5 million out of last year, or is every year, there's a lot of them. So that's one of my big issues, is they don't take care of their dealers. They don't have shuffle machines, so their structures aren't nearly as good as they look on paper because they don't have shuffle machines. Also, because they don't take care of their dealers are always brand new dealers. Nobody's gonna sign up to do that twice in a row. They do it once because they wanna get their foot in the door, they get tortured for 3 months, they get a good paycheck, and then they go and get a real job dealing, or move on to something else. So that's why the dealers are always very not experienced, we'll say, at the WSOP.
One thing to add to that, last year I actually played like one 3-hour session in Paris in a cash game. The only other time I ever played in the building hosting the series was in 2016. I gave Rio a chance. I sat at a table. The hand in progress when I sat down was, you know, it was in progress. It ended when the hand was over, the dealer pushed the pot to the wrong player. Everyone says something. You know, that's not the guy who won the pot. The dealer pushes the pot to a second person, also not the player who won the pot. It took 3 tries, and I played half that orbit, and I couldn't take it anymore, and I left. And I didn't want to see, like, maybe that was the best dealer we were going to have in the next 10 dealers. I don't know, but I couldn't take it anymore. I went to Bellagio, and up until last year, I played a total of like 6 minutes in the building hosting the WSOP for reasons like that. All right, Rich's next reason is the increased rake compared to the rest of the year.
Yeah, so I was playing a 1-2-5 game over there. This is more on the floor in the dealers. The 1-2-5 was a PLO, and they put the $5 button on the button the first day, and then a couple days later I came back, because I left as soon as they did that. I was like, that's a bad structure. So I came back a couple days later and they had the $5 under the gun, because they just didn't understand their own rules. That was kind of ridiculous. But back to the rake, they were charging $9 per half hour for a 1-2-5 game. The buy-in was $200 to $1,000, maybe $100 to $1,000, something like that. For reference, at the Bellagio, their 10-20 game at the time was $8 per half hour. For a $2,000 min, uncapped game, versus their 1-2-5, which was a $9 per half, which is just ridiculous. Also in their cash games, they have shuffle machines. Why? Because their revenue from cash games comes from how many hands per hour they get. So they want you to have shuffle machines. This whole excuse where they can't afford the tables, or they don't have the right layout to put those tables in there for all their tournaments, is BS, because they put it for their cash games, because that matters. Their tournaments, they don't care about the product. You know, you paid your tournament dues, they're done with you. They don't care. And that's pretty much that.
One thing I want to say about rake increasing, it's the same concept. It usually comes up when people sell shares of themselves in tournaments. It's not a lie. Like, whatever the rake is, either per hand or if you're paying time, like, you can ask and you can know before you play. And if you're unwilling to play, you don't need to, and if you're willing to play, you can. It's the same if someone is playing a tournament and is selling shares at 0% markup or 50%, or it would be insane, but like 150%. If that person says that's what the markup is and someone wants to pay, I don't have problems with people with great or mediocre or poor tournament resumes charging ridiculous markup. If there's someone out there in the world who wants to pay it, that person's allowed to pay it. And Rich's last thing is visiting, tanking super nits who take up a ton of time and don't really do anything, but Rich could explain it better.
No, he pretty much summed it up perfectly. The WSOP brings a lot of players, but not actual action. And then I don't really care if you're a super nit that much, but when you take 4 minutes to play like your action in one hand, that's ridiculous. One time we were paying time at Bellagio, we got 3 hands in a down. And this happens about once per series, and then I'm done playing during the series. And so, like, if you think about that's on average, that's 10 minutes per hand for 3 hands. Like, that's obnoxious, the level of tanking. And they see it on television, so they think that's how they're supposed to play or something. It's very annoying.
Yeah, and I told you right after last summer that a source of mine at Bally's said they were considering strongly in the middle of the series last year making 2-5 time rake, which is very rare. The only place I know of that ever happening was Borgata. I don't even know if it's still, they might have changed it, but there was a time where 2-5 at Borgata was a time rake, and the the source said there was just so few hands per down. Like, there was so little money coming in from those cash tables that they were thinking about making it time, because that would be more money.
Yeah, I got it at the stadium in May.